Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Worst Fans podcast, where we are going to talk about Prey, among a few other things, the Predator franchise, and also going to break down our rating system we've come up with, known as the Suits. So, with me, as always, is Garth, Marco, and Buck. That's your name, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's my name,
Good deal.
Buck. Well, you know me your entire life, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I saw Superman. I was like, wait a minute. Who is he?
Clark.
Yeah.
Kal-El,
All right.
actually. But
Anyway, guys, let's see. So we have been doing this for what, 12, 13 episodes now, and we've been back and forth about how we rate movies. We've been doing it the old-fashioned way, 1 out of 10. We thought about even bringing in the decimal when it gets real serious, but we all kind of realized we do our rating system a little differently. And to do something interesting, we noticed that there's a lot of movies that are done really well, and we think it's the right balance of artist creativity as well as a little bit of restraint from the producing side, the money, so to speak, the studio, the distributor, everybody that kind of holds back and says, "We're here to make money. I know you want to make a nice movie and something for the fans. That's great and all, but we're here to make money. So we're gonna intervene where we have to." And as we learned in our one of our favorite shows, Entourage, that's called the suits. The suits get involved, right? So you think of like the men in black or the black suits, the people that come in there and they run the show. They've got the power, they tell the creative people what to do. And so we think a neat way to rank movies is from now on, we're going to drop the 1 through 10 and we're going to rate them by how many suits. And that would be a very opposite sounding rating because 10 suits means it's the worst. It's like a 1 out of 10 score. And what we're looking at is it was completely taken over by the studio and we got very little out of it that was from the director, the writer, all the creative people that were behind it to make it a real, outstanding performance and a good show for the fans. So an example would be Marco. What do you got? What's a 10 suit piece of crap that the studio just ruined?
Any one of the sequels, either Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi. I'll go Rise of Skywalker. It'd be nice.
I think that would out of the three, I think that's the most suit involved of the sequel trilogy. I would agree to that. Maybe not 10 suits. It's pretty
It's
close.
pretty close.
It's pretty close. It's maybe like 8 or 9. That's for sure. So Buck, what about you? What's a very could have been a great movie, and then the suits jumped in thinking they were saving the day and ruined it.
perfect example is the original Justice League.
Yes,
After watching
and
Zack
suits.
Snyder's version, you just saw what a difference that was,
Yeah.
and you could clearly see that the original, the edit and everything, all the suits just jumped in there and just changed that whole movie up,
Yeah,
and yeah,
exactly. Perfect example because
yeah,
I think you would say Zack Snyder's has had as minimal suits as possible. In fact, the right kind of suits that helped and said, "We're going to give you 30 more million to do it the right way." That's the right kind of suit. So Zack Snyder's Justice League might be an example of what we call the golden suit. Or if you give a 1 out of 10 suits, in other words, that's our version of a 10 out of 10 perfection because it had the right balance of artistry. We had talent behind the camera, writing it, creating it in front of the camera. Everything turned out as it should, and no one got involved to ruin the movie or intervene. They actually got involved at just the right amount and said, "You know what? We're gonna help you make this perfect. Here's some more money. Make the Justice League 4 hours, black and white, whatever you want to do with it." Um, but we're gonna make sure it's just right. I can't say whatever you want to do with it because that gets closer to like 2 suits, 3 suits, in which case you might have complete creative freedom. I think that would be like a Last Jedi, maybe a Thor: Love and Thunder, something that I think the suits backed off and like, we're not even gonna see what you're doing. We trust you. Just go over here, do your thing, and let us know how it goes. Send us the bill. We'll pay. We'll let you do whatever you want. That turns into much fewer suits. That's like 2, 3 suits kind of performance. So, yeah, all right, very well. So our suits, I guess, Marco's gonna and Ed in post production here probably add a couple little suits as we start lining it up. So in the future, when we say, "What do you rank it?" Boom, 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 it's gonna show his suit number. And if we get the golden suit, we pulled that one out of Happy Gilmore because that's what you win when you win the golf tour, right? Golden suit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the main topic is Buck. Take it away.
oh me. The main topic is Prey. Came out on Hulu last Friday, and we talked about in the last podcast that we were all going to watch it actually on big screen in VR all together, and we did,
You
and it
did. And
was
actually took a couple of shots of us in
we did,
cyberspace
did.
here.
I'm
Yeah,
putting
So see if you can
yeah,
get
put
those
one over
there.
there.
there,
So
yeah, there you go.
So it was
Yeah,
me and Marco and Buck and my buddy Corey, who also listens, and
yeah,
we sat there in the I think it was the Grand Cinema.
yeah,
Put it on Hulu on Firefox. Which, by the way, if you want to do this, don't use any other. The only thing that makes streaming work on the internet browsers, it's Firefox. I don't know if you knew that or not. And then you just play your stuff, make sure everyone's listening properly, put your headphones on, and you feel like you're in the freaking theater. I mean, that's
Abs-
today. What a wonderful. I mean, the fact that Hulu said, or Disney or whoever distributed said, we're only putting this out on streaming, and that gave us the idea, like, hey, let's watch this in
yeah,
the theater the way it should be, you
perfect.
know.
Yeah,
But the fact that it was a good movie on top of that made it a really badass experience. I
Yeah.
mean, we had everything from like Buck over here on my left, smacking his popcorn,
yeah.
to like
I was
Marco getting tired of our chit chat, so he
Me,
like
I'm in the
moves
front
5
row.
rows
I'm like
forward.
turning around and telling him to shut up so that we can watch the movie.
yeah,
It
yeah,
Yeah, he might have flipped us off once or twice. That was
was
great.
a great experience. Like
Uh,
like you're actually in the movie.
yeah,
yeah, it's good. It's like you're doing a social thing, which the coronavirus days that was cool for me. I was in a position in my job where I was isolated for 14 days in a room, and I had my Quest with. Actually, I didn't have a Quest 2 at the time. I had a Samsung Odyssey or something like that. Plugged in, watched movies in the theater, felt like I was somewhere else. So anyway, if you want to watch a cool movie that's a streaming only, check it out in big screen. It's
yeah.
fantastic. Get a Quest or get any sort of Steam VR. You're all set. But back to the movie.
Yeah.
Buck,
Yeah,
what'd you think of
yeah.
it?
Well, I mean, it was a great option, because I really want to see this movie in a theater, and knowing that I couldn't, doing it in big screen, I mean, it was great, and we all had a good time watching it. And as you can tell, we all really enjoyed the movie. We thought it was great. My expectations were pretty high for it because I did see other reviews that came out before the movie, and that could be a bad thing because if
Yeah.
my expectations are too high, then I might be disappointed, and that could have been the case. But no, I really enjoyed the movie. As a Predator movie, just as part of the franchise, it's probably the best addition, honestly. I'm not gonna say right away right now that it's better than original. I'm not gonna say that, but it's a really great Predator sequel or prequel for that matter. But I enjoyed everything about it. I really did. What did you guys? Marco? What did you
Prequel.
think?
Well, I was about to say, yeah, but we can review. I mean, we all liked it. We'll get into the deep dark review later, but prequel, that was a big one. So, like talking about the story and the discussion of the movie itself, Marco, what'd you think on their take of why, or the setting and the characters they decided to go with?
I mean, I was really in love with like the movie as a whole. I mean, I love the whole Native American aspect of
There
it
you
and
say
like
Amber Thunderbolt or whatever.
that era of like that time era. And I love that it was
Yeah.
like the Predator itself. He was sick. Like he looked like badass. Like probably one of my favorite Predator designs in the whole franchise because he was like a big Predator,
He
kind of
was
like he
huge.
was
Yeah.
humongous,
He was,
right?
yeah, he was. I mean, he was,
Yeah,
yeah,
I loved his
he
skull
looked sick.
design. I love like the design,
Yeah.
badass. The protagonist also, I
Nailed it.
thought she was badass. Like
Yeah,
she didn't take no shit. So it was just like put those two together, and you have awesome fight scenes. To be her
yeah,
brother, and the Predator, all three of them had amazing fight scenes.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
The brother. Yeah, he was
the
pretty
vis-
awesome
Brother was
too.
the
awesome too.
visuals
Yeah,
for a Hulu movie, let me tell you, fantastic. You could tell the effort they put into that
yeah,
movie. I was
yeah.
astounded, flabbergasted,
Cinematography, the
even.
landscape, everything. I mean, it was great.
I
Yeah,
couldn't believe it. And then even like with the headphones on and in that cinema feel, I think the experience also helped a little bit. But man, the sound and like it was just fantastic. I really can't
yeah,
complain. Um,
yeah,
it reminded me a lot of, well, because I know that the original Avatar by James Cameron. I know he took a lot of inspiration from Native American culture for the Navi, so it
mm,
reminded me of that a little bit when she was going up to the dead buffalo and she was like, this is like horrible, like you killing these buffalo just for their skin and not for their meat. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, so I liked that aspect of the
yeah,
movie as well. Always been a huge fan of that time era in history, so the fact that they actually introduced Predator there was awesome.
That was
yeah.
great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So yeah, even we talk about the quality. Like there's shots in that movie, and when you're in the big screen, I'm telling you, the quality is good in Quest 2. It felt like a cinematic, like there's shots going. That's a great shot. This
Yeah,
doesn't feel like your standard sci-fi, the
it's
kind of
not
bad
like
reputation.
any green or blue screen. I mean,
No,
there's times actually without the predator being in there that there's shots where I guess the lead character Naru, right? That's her name.
I'm not gonna butcher it.
Nauru,
I think it was Naru. I'm not sure, but
Naru, I think.
there are
Naru.
scenes where she's walking and you see like this great, amazing landscape. You almost
Yeah,
forget sometimes that you're watching a Predator movie. I'm like,
yeah.
damn, this looks like, yeah, it almost looks like a. I'm not gonna say an Oscar-worthy movie, but there's times where like the score and just the visuals were just so great that I'm like, man, I forgot I was watching a Predator movie. Honestly, it was
Yeah,
really
this might
good.
be an easy one to like. Maybe someone else has said this too, but off two things: the setting and the score reminded me of the Last of the Mohicans a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, it did.
Like the
It did.
shots, obviously, the Native
Yeah.
Americans, even had the French, like French and Indian Wars, and
Yeah.
then the music. There was times where there was like violins kind of moving fast and repetitive. I was like, God, it sounds just like that score piece in Last Mohicans. It was a cool ass movie,
It was.
without
It
the
really was.
Predator. Yeah,
Oh, and the attention to detail too, because the way they pay attention to the history and the time, because that
yeah,
could be very easily to mess up. Remember when we were watching the movie all together, and that part where they were hunting the lion, right?
yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
that
your
was
friend
cool.
Spoilers.
was the one that said it, and he's like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah, I was like, there's no
you said
lions
it
in
can't
the.
lie 'cause they're in Africa." And right away, my heart dropped already because I'm like, "Oh no, please don't tell me to mess this up." And you're like, "Wait, if it's a mountain lion, it'll be all right." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
And,
please."
oh yeah, mountain lion. Okay, okay, makes sense.
Okay,
Mountain.
and it was a mountain lion. I was
Yeah,
like,
that mountain lion.
mountain
"Perfect."
lion. Yep. And it was a cool mountain lion. Like it didn't look like a CG piece of crap. Like it was good. It had cool behavior, like
Hmm.
trying to paw at the spear and stuff. And
I think the most,
I dug it.
I
I
think the
like
most
that.
impressive animal though, probably the bear. That was
Yeah,
that bear,
It was
man.
pretty good. Yeah,
That was cool as hell.
yeah. It was minor CG. I mean,
fine.
you can see
You could
some
see
CG
some
stuff.
CGI details, of course, but like
Yeah,
the
I
Can
mean,
be
the
expected.
scenes with
it
the
wasn't
bear,
really that bad. I've
The
seen worse.
yeah,
scene.
I've seen bigger budget movies with worse
Yeah.
CGI than this one.
yeah.
So it really didn't take me out of the movie at
Well,
No,
all. It was
the
great.
CGI was one thing, but the behavior it
Yeah,
performed, the performance of that bear, like the way it kind of like
it felt like I
I
was
feel
watching
like
an actual
some
bear that wasn't
he's a
really there. Like,
I love it
yeah,
when he's after her under the beaver dam, and then he's like, he just kind of like, son of a bitch. It feels like someone's behind me. Like you could see
yeah,
what the bear's thinking, and then he gets in a fight, and it was like,
yeah,
damn. Like when he took the predator, a little spoilery, guys. All right, so but when he took the predator down and chewed on him a little bit, and comes up with like
yeah,
predator blood everywhere, it's like, damn, this is great. This is a good fight.
yeah.
It just got me revved, man. I love
I
that
loved
thing.
it. Yeah, it's funny
Yeah,
because the trailer made it look like the predator killed him really easily. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then boom, man, he just picked him up. And no, in the movie, it was a
It's a
pretty damn good
fight.
fight. It wasn't an easy win. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you
great.
felt for the predator, like, yeah, man, good for you. You got that freaking
Yeah,
bear. Yeah, go you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what else? Yeah, that bear scene was, and you're right. That was a cheat. That would have been a cheat move if they'd Predator just killed it. Oh, yeah, he can kill a grizzly bear. A Predator's badass. But they
yeah.
actually showed it to us, and that was the moment I was like, okay, this is actually going to be pretty. This is going to be some good Predator stuff. You know.
Yeah. Another thing I like about this movie too, that they really portrayed this kind of predator very different from the ones we've seen before. This was a very feral predator. He was not one that was like hiding in the woods, staring at you for a long time. He wasn't like a very stealthy predator. This was a predator that was very much in your face. He wasn't afraid to like hide or anything. He didn't want to hide. Look like he just wanted to just show himself pretty quickly and try to prove himself. I love how they showed him killing animals first, then moving on to like a bigger animal, then humans.
Yeah.
I loved that aspect of the movie. The way they showed that, the way they filmed it was great.
It's
It was awesome.
fantastic.
I kind
Yeah.
of have
Fantastic.
a
Go ahead.
small theory about that. Kind of like throughout the entire movie, she's trying to prove herself to her tribe that she can be a hunter. That's
Right.
like her whole thing. Well, I feel like the Predators kind of dropped this Predator on Earth as a trial, as like a final initiation to actually become a hunter. That's why
Sure.
he was kind of like, the way he was hunting, it was like, okay, is that thing tough enough for me to kill? Maybe let me try it out. There's that thing. Obviously, that thing's great. And then
Growing up, level up.
his final trial would be the main protagonist, and then obviously he lost. So obviously she
Right.
saw that she was mighty, and then obviously she killed him.
Right.
Yeah, I know I didn't do a great job of dividing the spoilers up here, but since we've kind of
I mean,
already
we could put it
gotten in
in
that
the title.
territory,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, my dog's wanting to play. Um, she outsmarts the Predator, and really most of them do. I think that's generally how. Maybe not Danny Glover's Predator, but Schwarzenegger, and then it wasn't really so much his brute strength, but he outsmarted the Predator, and she. That's what everyone keeps saying. How could she take down? She's a frail little thing, and how could she take down a Predator with no technology? It's because she was sharper than he was. She used his technology against him.
Well,
Uh,
people forget also that in the first Predator, the way Arnold beat the Predator wasn't with his guns. It was the
Mhm.
fact that towards the end he had to use his brain and then actually go back to just making stuff. He made a bow and arrow and then he did certain things. That's how he beat him.
Right.
It wasn't his weapons that beat him. So that's pretty much what they did here. He had to just go back to basics. I
that's a
mean,
good point. Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot he made the bow and arrow and the. I knew he
Yeah,
made the.
I mean,
In my
yeah,
head, I remember the
he didn't
trap.
have a grenade, but everything else, he set a trap for him. Everything
Yep,
else, he taught him, just back to basics. It wasn't with his weapons that beat him. So,
for sure.
well,
All
weapons
right,
were
so
guns, like machine guns and whatever. So,
exactly. So let's see here. Moving along, we talked about it. So let's review it. We're going with our suit steel, right? We could tell we like this movie. So like in any general case, we would have given it something like an 8 or a 9. But
yeah,
suits, this is an interesting one. We're doing this for the first time now, and I feel like the creativity of the film didn't have suit intervention. I think it was a really good, basically executive did the executive sat back and let people do what they had to do, and he didn't get in the way. You didn't see it
yeah,
overly political or anything, in my opinion. I thought it was great, all story, all character. So what do you think? Buck, I guess you can be the first one. What's your suit rating for Prey?
yeah. I mean, as far as the suits in this, I mean, interfering or as far as having their hand in the movie, I don't think it was really that deep, really, honestly. The story was pretty basic, and I'm pretty sure they saw it and be like, "Well, this would be a pretty easy movie to film." The fact that they greenlit this movie after the last one bombed, The Predator, was shocking. Because just hearing the story before I even saw any of the trailers, I'm like, this is gonna be crap. I don't understand why they would even do this, and I was completely wrong. Um, I think honestly, the only interference that I could think of as far as with the suits is that they didn't let it go into theaters. They
Yeah,
only wanted it in
I
Hulu,
completely agree. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
and that was really the only thing I saw in there. Um,
Fear.
Maybe look, and this is just a nitpick. Honestly, this is nothing. A part of me, as great as the score was, I did kind of miss the old Predator theme. Like I from 1 and 2.
Wow. I
I
actually didn't even
and I
notice I
don't
didn't
get me
have it.
wrong, and the score in this was great, but I did kind of miss that Predator theme. It was
Jeez, how did I miss that? This is the first time I thought about it. I didn't
yeah,
have the
'cause they
Predator
didn't have
song.
it at all in the movie, like nothing. And I think if I'm not wrong, besides the Alien versus Predator movies, I think all of them have that theme
Yeah,
somewhere along the line
even
in,
the new
in
one.
the
Yeah,
movies. That didn't have it, and I think this one, and again, this isn't like a real negative towards it because this movie was. I like the fact that it did play different. It was kind of like its own thing, but this one I feel did not have like a horror element to it. As far as like yeah, it was gory. I mean they were. I mean there's a lot of gory scenes in there. They weren't shy when it came to blood or anything. But for instance, Predator 1 and 2 had a very um like boogeyman element to it too.
yeah.
Where you were I was scared of the first Predator and the second one when I was a kid. I
Flashing
was, I
eyes.
was you know yeah, this one they didn't really play it that way. He showed himself very quickly. He wasn't like lurking in the trees. He wasn't hunting that way. Um, so I kind of missed that a little bit, just a tiny bit. But like I said, I know the movie wasn't going for that. I think they were going for look. We know you guys know the Predator already. You've seen him in 5 movies. You know how he acts. You know how he is. We're presenting this in a different way, and
Right.
I like that too. So if I'm gonna rate this movie with suits, I'll probably give it 2 suits.
2 suits.
Yeah,
I would agree. 2 suits. I had my
two
mind
suits.
made up already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we'll give it.
All right, 2
I
suits.
kind
How
of
about you?
I kind of give it 3 suits because I kind of agree with everything you said. Not it not coming out in theaters,
Yeah,
and um the Predator itself. I kind of forgive the Predator a little bit because of my internal theory as to why he was hunting that way.
right.
So he could have been
Yeah,
a younger predator doing on trial, proving himself to be a hunter towards other tribe. Um, I know that every movie has plot armor. I know it does. And I think the main protagonist, as badass as she had pretty big plot armor. There were, I think, 3 occasions where I remember correctly where she could have very much died pretty easily. Um, and I think she just survived because she got lucky.
Yeah,
So I think that's my only reason I give it 3 suits. Because they wanted her to
that's a
survive.
good score.
They wanted her to survive so badly. And we're happy she did because she killed the predator very smart. My only problem, probably, I forgave the predator from before. My only problem with the predator, he was not aware of his own technology.
yeah. I was gonna say that. Yeah, yeah,
So like he's aiming this missile that he's aware is a heat seeking
right.
bow or whatever it is.
Yeah, he's like, don't know where the target is.
And he's like, I don't know what my own technology does.
It's your own mask. You don't know how your own mask works.
Exactly.
You know you didn't have it on you, right? Yeah, I know. I thought of that too. Right.
That's my
You have
only
it on you.
real complaint
Yeah,
about it. But besides that,
because
I mean,
essentially we learn that it paints the target, right? Like the
Right.
laser will,
Yeah.
and it hits that target no matter what. The stronger you paint it, but he's probably like, well, it's gonna. I'm pointing it at her, but
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it, knowing full well this thing could be turned off somewhere.
yeah,
Maybe that's what he thought. Perhaps he's like, I don't have it anymore. It's
Yeah.
destroyed. It's
yeah.
turned off. So
Another
therefore, it
reason
shoots
why
straight.
maybe I'm forgiving him for it. I'm forgiving the predator too much. Maybe it's his first time with that
Right.
technology. Maybe this is
He's
his
a
first
young.
hunt,
Right.
so he's not
Right.
extremely familiar with it. You know?
I think plot hole was right. I think you were right the first time, but it didn't bother me. Like, sometimes it's like a plot hole is like, oh
No, it
gosh,
wasn't a
just
make or
give up
break
already.
decision for the movie. I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It was,
It's just
Yeah.
criticism. That's fine. Nitpicking, and that's fine.
and
Yeah.
that's why I
That's
give it 3 suits.
nitpicking. It's not. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I liked is that the everyone who fought the predator gave it a good fight. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the Native Americans, they get in there and they were like team working. Like, all right, I got the front.
Yeah.
You distract him by screaming. He's gonna turn around. I'm gonna freaking jab him in the neck. So there was like
Yeah.
really good coordination between them. They were a team. They felt like
As scared as some of them were, they went at him like full force. Like they didn't
yeah,
care. They were like warriors to the end.
yeah,
Especially her brother. Her brother. I think her brother could have got. Her brother had him.
he was
If
there.
the
Yeah,
better than chicken shit out at the end and camouflage himself.
He
I'm
got
like, oh,
scared.
that's
He got scared.
he
Yeah.
had him. He had him. And then of
yeah.
course, the brother saved himself. I mean, sacrificed himself to save his sister, which was noble, of course. But he had him. He could have got him. It was there. So
All right. Well, Predator. I'm sorry, Prey.
pray, pray.
Prey. 2 suits taste too good. All right.
Yep.
So, Buck, what's that Funko Pop you got over there? Since we're talking
Oh,
Prey and Predator.
well, this is a Funko Pop that my brother got me on my last birthday last year. It is Dutch from Predator, all mudded up.
What did
Yeah, and from what he tells me, it is a rare Funko Pop. Not many people have it. I don't.
I'm
I'm
sure
not
when
really
it came
sure.
out, people bought it, but
But
now I don't see it
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. But yeah. So that's
I
what
like
that
his
is.
bloody nose. Just like she fell in the mud. The mud played a little bit of a scene, and it actually threw us all off at first. Like, oh, the mud. That's right. That's how they're gonna get around. That's how they're gonna
Yeah.
hide from the predator. Nope. Washes it right off. We're like, well, crap. So we end up getting the orange petals of we kept calling it Tootsie because we can hear what they said. It was like, they say orange Tootsie. So we said throughout the whole movie theater, like, get the
Well,
orange
I mean,
Tootsie
at
roll.
least the movie did go out of its way to explain every scene that was happening and basically make it like make sense at the end. Like, okay, well, that's why this happened because this was gonna happen. I like that.
That was good. They gave you a reason for everything, whether it was a good one or not. It's like
Yeah,
they tried to explain it.
yeah.
Um, you know. All right. So Predator was what, 87, I think? Is that
87.
around the time?
87. Yeah,
Like someone probably looked it up recently.
yeah, I believe so.
So what a damn movie. Like I did not see it in the theater. I saw it at home video or probably like your dad probably brought it over and y'all came to visit one time when I was a kid. And I know my parents aren't as tuned into movies, so they had no idea this was about an alien. They think it's a commando style, green berets shooting the bad guy, and then things start getting weird. And I remember my dad describing it afterwards, and he's like, "Wait till you see the face of this thing." And I remember the first time I watched it, it showed the mask. It's like, "Oh, that's a cool face." And then I didn't know he meant later on that mask is gonna come off and that thing has mandibles, and it's what a awesome design the Predator
Yeah,
has always been. It's like just such a cool villain, you
yeah,
know? Movie monster. I mean, one of the best. And you said your favorite's that new one. I always go back to the original Predator, had the perfect design to me, the braids, the hair, like everything was just what a damn good movie monster. Even for 1987, it looks outstanding. The eyes and
yeah.
makeup, I love it. It's not tip, tidbit. I heard whoever the designer was, it might have been Phil Tippin or one of those guys who was at ILM or something. I don't know who designed the Predator, but apparently him and James Cameron were on a plane looking at, and Cameron was looking at sketches of what he did. He's like, "Oh, that's not bad, but tell you what will be cool is why don't you take that face and put some mandibles under it?" So like the reason the Predator has this is because of Cameron. That's Cameron added that design element through an idea. So go figure. James Cameron, the master,
Well,
you know.
another tidbit is that they actually had a completely different design before, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was actually playing the Predator.
Yeah,
And
I
they
just heard
shot
that.
they shot a good part of the movie with him, and then they realized, yeah, this looks really stupid, and then you scrap the whole thing, and
Seen the same documentaries. That's familiar now too. Yeah,
yeah,
nice. He
yep,
also was in a back in the day a red suit because the surroundings were green. You can't put him in a green suit and try to chroma key him out because the whole thing will disappear.
yeah.
So good stuff. But
So
yeah,
yeah,
just the original Hunter movie, man. I mean,
yeah.
it was that element of Schwarzenegger in his day with
His prime.
it's
It was in his prime.
yeah,
It was,
God, what
yeah,
a like those roles for him were just what little boys are just like, oh, that's so cool. I want to see the action. I want to see him blow stuff up. And it reminds me of in Commando, the other movie he's in, where he's like loading up all his gear and every weapon and tying, little hand grenades and stuff to him. Like that's the stuff we'd go out in the playground or just our backyard and be like, all right, I got this stick here. This is my bazooka. Like it was the era of like just being a boy having fun and loving that stuff. So the fact that you're going to use all this and you're going to have to kill an alien, damn, that movie just it gets my juices going, man. That was the
yeah,
best thing movie when I was a kid. And it's funny too, as a kid, we watched that. It was rated R, it was gory and violent, but whatever, parents didn't care. Different era.
yeah. It's funny. Back then, it's like if it had sex scenes, we couldn't watch. If it was just violent and gore, it was all
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
No one cared about
fine.
it
that.
might give you nightmares,
Sure,
worst thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
but
So,
yeah, yeah. It's a
uh,
I
let's
love the
start with
first
the
Predator.
new yeah, great. Oh man. How about the Predator 2, Marco? That's one that you were pretty late on both of these, but I think everyone's favorite's always the first Predator. So,
Correct.
do you have any strong feelings one way or the other about the second one?
I mean, watching the first one was a little nostalgic to me because I think I watched some in the wrong order because I was born in
Oh,
'96, so I think Dad showed me Alien versus Predator first.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
great.
watched that movie first, and then I went back to watch Predator. And I remember as a kid being disappointed because there was no alien in it. Now watching it as an adult, I'm like, wow, this is a really good movie. Um, I I mean, again, it was Arnold in his prime. Like you can't beat him in his prime. Like he was a good. I want to say he's a fantastic actor, but like the roles that he did in
He was
those
a great actor.
movies were unfantastic. Like he Terminator, Commando, Predator, like all those roles that he had really built up his career. And like I don't want to say he played the same role in every movie, but you know,
They knew what they wanted.
yeah,
Yeah, when they
exactly.
cast him.
So I mean, and Predator is probably one of the more enjoyable ones that he did. So I mean, fantastic film. The second one, let me tell you, I watched the second one probably like 10 years ago. So it's
For the first time.
yeah, the first time like 10
Oh
years
wow.
ago.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
it's like it didn't really affect me as much as the first one
Yeah.
did, So I don't really have much of an opinion on it. So it's like the first one's always going to be like in my back of my head. I remember that one like the back of my hand. Like it's a great movie. The second one, I'm going to have to rewatch it because it's been a really long
Okay.
time.
So I'm gonna save you for last buck on this one, but for me as a kid, I remember because yeah, I did watch the first one eventually. I was still pretty young, loved it, and then the second one, I was still, I guess, never really wanted to go in the theater at that age to see something like that. So it was again at home video, and I remember my parents and I watching it. We rented it or something, and I'm watching it, and I'm okay. I get it. I see what's going on, but of course the setting's so different. It's Danny Glover. It's a city. It's a little more comedic, maybe a little darker at some times, especially the gangs, the Jamaican gang, and it was just, looking back, it was kinda like Lethal Weapon meets Predator in a sense. Not
Yeah,
maybe not quite so Lethal Weapon, but Danny Glover was in it. But then I remember as a kid, I got tired towards the end and I didn't finish it. I remember the scene with the beef hung and like the disc weapon that cut through him. And it was not long after that I was like, I'm too tired, I'm going to bed. And I remember asking my parents, how did it end? Because I wasn't gonna finish it. I was like, I got enough, I guess. And I actually, as a kid, I wasn't the hugest Predator 2 fan, and they said, "Oh, he took the weapon that the Predator had and killed him with it." But my parents didn't bother telling me there was a spaceship with other alien skulls or anything. It was actually you that got so excited about it years later and told me that, and I was like, "Wait, what? I don't remember all this." And I'm like, "That's right, I never finished it." And so you're like, "What? There's an alien in it. An actual alien from the movie Aliens, you know?" It's like, "You gotta be kidding me." Like, you were a huge Predator 2 fan, and I think I rewatched it with you, and that's when I appreciated it a lot more.
yeah,
So, all right, now let's hear your nostalgic,
yeah.
throwback to how did
Yeah,
you appreciate Predator?
look, the first one will always be like, of course, my favorite. Yeah, it's the first one, and I have great memories of watching it actually in the theater with my parents when I was young. But the second one, for some reason, really holds a special place in my heart. It was one of those movies when I remember that it didn't get great reviews, and it was the first movie that I remember defending as to when people came out and said, "Oh, Predator 2 sucks. It didn't have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. It was in the city. It was garbage." And I'm like, "Man, you're garbage. You don't understand. Like, this movie was amazing." And I think the movie, I think now is a little more appreciated more than it was back then. I think it's aged better. I think people are looking at it now like, you know what, this actually really was a true good sequel. Um, I just don't think people actually realized how much Predator 2 expanded the lore of Predator. I mean, more so than Part 1 did, because Part 1 just introduced the character. Part 2, man, all the weapons that we know about the Predator now, the disc, the spear, the net, that's all
Yep,
from Part 2. That's
yep.
all from Part 2. And then especially that the great ending with the ship and all those predators, and then you see the
Predator.
trophy. I mean, there's just so much. And then you realize at the end, with they gave Danny Glover the gun, which guess what? That connected to
Yes.
Prey. It all made sense. And I'm like, man, so you mean to tell me these predators go from different eras? And not to mention, Predator 2 took place in 1997, which at that time was the future because the
Future,
movie
yeah.
came out in 1990. So I just love the movie. I actually liked Danny Glover in the role. I thought he was great.
Yep,
I liked the other characters. Bill Paxton was a little corny, but he was fine. So
yep,
was
same.
Gary Busey. But I loved it, and it had the same horror element as the first one did. I really did like the sequel. I mean, there's a time where I really felt part one and part two were like, to me, in the same ranking. I really loved both of them,
Yeah,
honestly. I mean, now I could say, yeah, part one, it really is the more better movie. It really is, truly. But part two will always be great to me, always be great. And then what's funny, now that Prey connects to part two, I kind of look at Predator 1, Predator 2, and Prey as kind of, believe it or not, I compare it to the Back to the Future trilogy, where you have part one, part two goes into the future, and then part three goes back to Wild Wild West.
that's
So
not bad. That's a really good analogy, yeah.
I'm telling you, so I really do consider like these three movies as a great trilogy.
Yeah,
I really do.
good
And you
Yeah,
comparison.
go get the almanac, find out which is the
yeah.
flintlock pistol in
I'm,
this
I'm
case.
telling you. So that those are my thoughts on part two, man. I really do like part two. I yeah,
Well, like as you said, it not just expanded, it expanded the lore, but it started to get into an era of that 80s, 90s where I loved that era when companies would expand into toys and comics and video games. It was kind of where that
yeah,
started, around that time.
yeah.
And we did it like Predator. We started seeing some Predator video games. I was just talking about, and that started the whole Alien versus Predator. There was a
Yeah,
freaking alien in there.
yeah.
So that's how that began. I mean, you can't without Predator 2, it would have just been like an idea someone had, but it was cinematically, it was canon that there was an alien skull in there. It was like, holy shit, this is great.
It was. I think it was the first proof of actually like a joined universe because 20th Century Fox owned both rights to Alien and Predator. So in your mind, like, wait a minute, so you mean to tell me one day we could actually see an Alien versus Predator movie? Like that could actually happen. It was exciting for me as a kid. I was like,
If they
wow.
were even like nowadays, you look back, you're like, they probably weren't even thinking that. They just said, oh, they had a bunch of alien skulls. Like, it'd be great. Get the one from like the soundstage over here where they're shooting Alien 3 and like just bring it over and there we go. And they thought it would just be like a
Maybe,
little cute
but
nod
Yeah.
to it or something. And it ended up being a complete lore,
yeah,
verse. So
yeah,
I was even mentioning there was back in the day a Capcom beat 'em up, just like Final Fight. It was Alien vs Predator. It had Dutch in it. It had that female character. They wrote novels about Alien versus Predator.
yeah.
It really made it cool. And the sad thing is we didn't get anything after that for a long time. And I can't actually remember what was first, the first Alien versus Predator, or was it Predators with Robert Rodriguez?
No, Alien
Alien
versus
versus
Predator came
Predator.
out in 2003, I believe.
Okay.
Um, and then Alien vs Predator Requiem came out in 2007, and then
Queen.
Predators came out in 2010.
Yeah, Requiem. I think what's funny is we thought Requiem was cool for a minute, and then afterwards, like, ouch, that was painfully
Yeah,
bad. That was probably the worst Predator movie, I think, if you even call it a Predator movie
Yeah.
nowadays. So, in
yeah,
my
That
opinion, I
was
don't know.
yeah, it was a really
You
bad
got
one.
what's so we talk about the flops, okay? That was the greatest Predators movies. What you just said, Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. I like that.
no.
So, what is Barco your absolute crappiest version of the Predator?
I mean, yeah, Requiem. You hit the dot.
Requiem, yeah,
Yeah, man. I mean,
AVP
that
Requiem.
movie was horrible.
AVPR. They tried to make it sound cool. AVPR.
Hated
But
that
you know what?
movie.
Believe it or not, the best part. I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt
No, no,
you,
you're good.
Mark. But the best part of Requiem actually was the Predator. That Predator in the movie was actually pretty good. The rest of it was just. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah,
There was
I
like a
actually I rewatched all of them before I saw Prey.
oh wow,
So I
no,
read
I
the whole
thought
series. The only one I did not rewatch is the Predator because it wasn't available. So I couldn't watch the newest Predator, but
The
everything else I saw.
Predators.
not
No,
available.
the Predator,
Oh, the
the last
Predator.
one
The
I
one
bought.
with the dude from Suicide Squad. I can't even his name. Wasn't that him?
No,
What?
no, it was the very last one that came out like in 2018. You know
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. That wasn't the dude. I can't think of his name, but he was the love interest for Empress. Empress Venture. What was?
Are you talking about
You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
That's not the same actor.
no,
The
Jeez.
Predator.
All right. It's been a while since I've seen it. I guess.
Boyd
it had
Holbrook.
different. Thomas Jane. It had
Peacemaker killed John Cena killed him in the second Suicide Squad.
Oh
no, that wasn't
no,
him.
that's not him.
That's not
No,
him.
no, it's not him. No, no, no. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it kind of looks like him, but it's not him. Yeah.
Seemed like him. Yeah.
No,
That's
it's not.
humor.
Yeah, that's the guy at the
That
end where he was like, they introduced the Iron Man suit for Predator, and he's like, "Oh, do they have the size 6 or some crap like that? Some corny ass thing?" Yeah,
the best thing would have instead of that suit, that predator killer suit technology they've been talking about. Oh, we finally got it. The stuff that's going to kill it. It should have been a clone of Arnold. That would have been the best freaking ending.
that's what they were gonna do. They were actually Dutch was supposed to come back, but
Oh
Arnold
my
couldn't
god,
do it, so that was their second option, which was stupid. But
which
yeah,
is ridiculous. Because guess what? He did come back for your absolute favorite video game.
video game the past 2 years.
He's
Hey
got more
man,
hours on that than
here's
most
the
people have on
fucking
GTA
route,
5.
okay? It is the best gaming experience I've had in a long time. You won't
Marco
regret.
completely agrees.
I
I could
don't
tell.
get it. I
Yeah,
don't get it. I don't get it. Don't get
there's
it.
there's nothing to get. You're either a fan or you're not. But
Yeah,
I
man,
like Predator. I love the Predator series, but that game
you
is
don't.
it's
I just
just I can't play it for more than like a day, dude.
yeah. I think it's not your generation. I don't know what to
yeah.
No,
say.
that's not true
It's just
because I like Dead by Daylight. I like Friday the 13th. Very similar
no, but
games. Very
the
similar
gameplay
games.
style. Okay, you're right. I gotcha. Dead
I
by
just,
Daylight is similar, huh?
yeah,
Just don't think you like that particular gameplay. It's not your style.
I've played games
It's
That's
like
what.
that
basic.
before.
It's I think it's the style is fine. I think it's too what is it? Technique or quality? What is it? Mechanics. The game mechanics probably aren't sharp enough for what you're used to. You're used to Overwatch and Valorant and
A
all these
couple
ones
of
that are like
faster paced games,
they
yeah.
are really putting their effort into like movement, and I mean, I don't know,
I remember
like
when I
control.
played the one time I played with Buck Alien vs Predator, and the movement for me is just not my style.
It's
Yeah,
sluggish. I got you, but it doesn't matter for us because we're old and we can't move that fast on a
Yeah,
shooter game. I get I go to one of those, I'm like, I'm shot the second I remember when Battlefront first came out, the newer 2015 version? I
yeah.
walk out in the snow and like, headshot. I'm done. That's it for the round,
Yeah.
guys. I'll come back in
But
20
then
seconds.
they turned it into like Call of Duty, which those games I don't last 2 seconds, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, this sucks. I can't get into
I don't
this.
play those games anymore either.
but Predator's slow, it's methodical, you
Yeah,
can lurk and you can hunt and you can play with your
it does
weapons and,
give me the
oh,
feel of
man,
being in a real Predator situation, a real movie, like part one. It really does feel that way, and it's great.
just crossed my mind. Is there any DLC Prey related? That'd be fantastic if they made a
No, I
level
checked.
for
They
Prey.
haven't done it yet. I'm pretty sure they
Those
will.
They probably
bastards.
will.
Yeah.
They probably well, they should have been on it by now, man. But I guess
Yeah,
honestly, they probably didn't think it was gonna make any money. That's why it was
yeah,
on Hulu,
they
so
probably did. Yeah.
everyone's backtracking. Oh shit, we gotta come up with some stuff.
Mm.
Hurry, let's get some Predator gear out there. They probably don't have a Funko Pop for the girl yet. You know?
Yeah.
All
So
right,
I mean,
so
so Marco, you said that Requiem was your worst, right? As
Requiem
far as
was probably my
Predator.
least favorite. Yeah,
Yeah. What about you, Rhett?
I'd say so. Now I haven't watched it in a minute, but Predators, would you say is underrated? Corey, who saw Prey with us, sent me a message the other day. He's like, "Would you call Predators underrated?" And I'm like, maybe nowadays I would. Back then, I liked it. I had a hard time loving it, and I don't know why. But another little thing. Did you notice that the predator they introduced in that movie was the same predator we got in Prey? The same species, like the feral predator, the super predator. Yeah, what are you shaking your head at?
No, he looks different. I saw Predators. I mean, it has some likeness, but I don't think it was the same Predator as the Super Predators that were in.
It had to have been. The mouth was totally different. The mandibles went
It was
down
it was
to
different, but he didn't. I mean, it could be
they had
maybe,
the weird eyes. I'm pretty
maybe,
sure it was
but
it.
I don't know.
That's one thing I
yeah.
design wise, I was
I
like, that's
think
that predator. I don't know why they're going with that one, but okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think Red's
Yeah.
right on that one. I think it's the same predator.
we can
Let's find a comparison. Maybe
we
if
can
you get a chance,
yeah, a
just
comparison picture just to see.
yeah, put a picture on this block and that block. We want to
Yeah,
see Prey Predator versus
Predators.
Predators Predator
yeah,
because they were a good bit taller and bigger, which this one
they
seemed to be
were. Yeah,
huge. Yeah,
yeah.
they had like redder skin too. Like the classic Predator was a little more like white and kind of yellow lines and weirdness, and this one, these are like really
Yeah.
deep dark skin tone.
Yeah, I honestly thought with Predators, it's funny because I saw it with our cousin Chris, and it was actually a funny story. It was actually the same day um, we found out that LeBron James was going to come to Miami Heat. It was I went to his house,
A
and
while
before
back.
the movie started, before we went to the theater, they got an announcement that LeBron said he was going to go to Miami Heat, and everybody was excited about that. And then we went to go see the movie, and maybe that was in our heads that it was kind of like we couldn't
Oh,
get like focused. But I don't know, the movie for Predators for me, man, it was a mixed bag, and I remember leaving the theater very disappointed. Like it didn't deliver what I thought it was gonna be, and I think the main problem was that there was too many callbacks to the original, and it kind of just started falling apart on itself. None of the characters in the movie I really didn't care about. They were just these people that I like the concept that these predators took these different kind of these the certain group and they kidnapped them and they dropped them off in this weird planet. I did like that aspect of the movie. But as far as the characters, I really didn't care. Adrian Brody, for some reason, felt like he was doing a Christian Bale Batman impression the whole time. He kept talking like, oh, I
he
don't know.
had to. He's so skinny.
I work alone. And he kept doing that. I
Good
was for
voice.
one second, I thought he was gonna say Harvey Dent. Can he be trusted?
Where is he?
So yeah, Rachel. Yeah, there
Uh,
was that. There was that. And for some reason, I just could not wrap my head around the fact that they were introducing these three super predators, right? That were stronger, obviously, than the regular predators. Which the regular predator could take out a whole mercenary team of, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger's team in part one. But they should have been able to take out this group with no problem. Like this, I just couldn't buy that. It wouldn't make any sense to me if these.
It was a little weird.
There was
Yeah.
three of them. There's three, not just one. There was three super enhanced super predators. It just didn't make any sense to me. And then there was a subplot where one of the characters, I think it was Topher Grace. He was, he was Topher Grace. He was
Psycho
a
serial killer.
psycho serial doctor killer, and they kind of at the last act they introduced that, and he kidnapped. Well, he had the girl. I'm like, why does this even matter? We're in a planet that three predators are hunting us down. Why is this even a factor? I don't understand why they would introduce this.
That'd be something different.
So yeah, I think it started out really well. It just didn't end well, and it just had a lot of callbacks to the original. I just couldn't get into it. So
Not
yeah.
a good core story, but neat surrounding, neat visuals. Just
Yeah.
no character, no story. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said the Topher Grace thing, like, why the hell they had that? For some reason, it reminded me of, and it's funny because you and I both said we didn't have a problem with this, but in the newest Jurassic World, the locusts, everyone's like, why are you gonna throw locusts in my dinosaur movie? Like, does this? Why do we need this right now? We got predators. Where's the serial killer?
Don't bring that back. Don't get me upset right now.
Yeah.
Shit.
One of those like plot elements. It's like that's like a sidebar. Do we need that here? That could have been cut.
It's funny how that didn't bother me as much as that plot from Predators. It's funny how some things will hit me differently than others, and I don't know. Weird.
All right. So have we forgotten any? I guess the Predator is the
Well,
last we haven't really
no,
talked about.
the first Alien versus Predator.
Okay, yeah, let's go
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I liked it. I actually
I
I liked
still
it.
hold it in fairly
I
high
really did.
regard.
Yeah.
It felt a little like sci-fi movie, but the quality was good. The visuals and everything was fine. But like, I don't think we knew any of the actors, did we? I can't even remember.
Well, I
who they
mean,
were.
I knew Sanaa Lathan, the main actress. I knew who she was, and
I knew her from
we
like
had the guy who played Waylon, Bishop. I mean, the guy who was in the Alien movies.
the main that actor. I
Yeah,
can't think of his name.
I forgot his name, but
That's true. That's true. He
yeah.
died. Yeah.
I mean,
Spoiler alert.
the movie did have a lot of corny lines. I remember there were some scripts where the script was like,
Yeah, remember that line where she and the guy were like out in this, I don't know, the snowmobile or something, and it's like he was talking about the moon, and they like look at each
yeah,
other and laugh, and we're like, "Was that? What was the point of that line?"
yeah.
But it was.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying like as low ratings as this movie has, I think it's probably one of the more enjoyable movies. I think it's a good time. I think I can watch this movie and have a good time watching it, being entertained, being a fan of both franchises, and just like enjoying it. That's why
it was cool lore too.
Yeah.
It was like ancient civilization. They were the predators were there in Egypt and Mayan culture, or
which
wherever.
I guess
Like they were
isn't
there
canon anymore. So
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think we brought that up last time because I asked that question. I was like, is it even canon if someone heard that Prey is supposed to be, quote, the first predator to come to Earth? But do we really know that? Like, is that something they said in an interview? Because nothing in the movie says
nothing
that
in the
had
movie
to have been the
stated
first
that.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
based on the movie alone, not interviews and director outside of it could still be canon, I guess.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess The Predator a few years ago, me and Buck went out of there liking it. I think since then we've dropped it in kind of the corny area, but
I wish I could have seen it again because I only saw it once and I really don't remember a lot about it. There's I just like I said, I saw it once. But I do remember liking it. Like again, at that point I kind of given up on the franchise. I was in that mode of like, man, whatever. Let's just I'll take whatever they give me. If it's
maybe I was
mildly entertaining, all right, cool. And I thought it was entertaining. I mean, the story was complete. It was ridiculous.
there was Predator dogs again.
There's Predator dogs, and
They had those in Rodriguez Predator too.
and again, they did. There was a super Predator that was trying to kind of like
this one was a different super
take
predator.
over
Wasn't
the.
it?
Huh?
He was the cop.
He was a different super
The
predator.
predators were shooting each other.
Yeah,
And
like the Predator in that movie, the original was actually good. He was trying to warn us, I think.
yeah,
I'm trying to remember something about
he stole the Predator killer and
yeah.
Was trying to deliver it to the humans, so they had a weapon against them because the super predators were coming to do something. I don't know.
Didn't that
but-
predator like genetically enhance his body with the other species DNA or something?
No, that's right. The super predators were genetically enhancing their body. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Damn,
Yeah.
that's weird.
So,
That's why
yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan. That movie was a mess in my head. I'm sorry. I wasn't a
It's
huge
a
fan.
miss.
Thinking about it now, yeah, it was a mess. But
Yeah, whatever. It's
I
just
thought it was the movie that killed that literally killed the Predator franchise. I'm like, yeah, that's it. They're not gonna make any more. So I was shocked when they announced, oh, we're gonna do another Predator movie, and it's gonna be about Native Americans, and they're gonna fight off the Predator. And in my mind, I'm like, how is that gonna work? Like what?
yeah, that's what
So
everyone thought. There's no
oh,
way
I
they
know
could kill
about that.
Predator.
I'm
They
like,
have
oh,
no
this
tech.
predator's gonna annihilate. He's just gonna win. Like, there's
Yeah,
no, yeah.
wrong planet. There's no technology yet. Go back and find another planet where they got guns.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they had guns at that point, but so I guess we've hit pretty much the whole franchise. Had a nice little retrospective. So, what do you think's next? You think we'll get a Prey 2?
I think so.
Well, there have been some rumors that they might explore the samurai era, and they might do that.
That would be sick.
That would be sick.
Because you know they touched upon Native American part of it, and it was kind of a callback to Billy from the first Predator. Um, and
Yeah, I
then
forgot.
now I do remember in Predators there was kind of like the samurai character with a sword, and he fought off the Predator. So maybe they kind of like want to pull that. It could be
If they went
interesting.
to
But just
that
keep hitting
era,
different
that would be
timelines.
cool as
I
hell.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
line it would be cool. You know.
very cool. Because you
I
could
like
have a
the idea. I like the idea of the Predator movies jumping to different timelines, and I do love that idea. And
Different
that would be
timelines
actually
and
yeah.
different cultures, like fighting them. That'd be
they
cool.
have to adapt to that kind of timeline, that kind of culture. They can't just do whatever they want as far as hunting. They have to abide by certain rules. You know.
Well,
Right.
at the end of
Well,
Prey, they kind of showed, at the end credits, more ships
Yeah, more
coming
ships.
yeah.
in the
So
kid.
that's what I was thinking. I think I was going for that. Like we're gonna see what happens next is kind of what I want to see, really. But the damn samurai idea I've got stuck in my head now too.
Well,
So
I don't know if
Yeah,
I don't know if the ships are indicating that we're gonna get another movie about the same era. I think the ships are indicating that more predators are gonna come to take revenge on their fallen soldier.
right. And that's how they get the gun,
Yeah,
and
so
that's how.
like I don't think
Yeah,
we're gonna see a movie about the Native Americans. I think it's gonna be a assumption that they killed them.
okay, gotcha. In other words, like you don't have to see what happens here. All those people are
Yeah,
about
we
to
gave you
die, and
this. We're gonna fill in the story a little bit, do a little time jump, and then we'll show you this. I think that's
it might,
yeah,
what we
it might
want.
not be that they killed him, and they might just come back to maybe congratulate her, and I don't know. You know what I mean? Well, look, hey, when in Predator 2, even in Alien versus Predator, when they found that a human killed a predator, they didn't kill him. They kind of like gave him like props, like, hey,
yeah. Good on you.
you're one
True.
of, yeah, you can be one of
That's
us.
true. That's happened twice now. You're
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't do it like that. They don't like take revenge on a tribe because
Okay.
they killed one of their
But
own.
imagine they do that and they're coming out and they're just kind of like, oh shit, but they're calm. And then like one of the Native Americans like panics and like shoots his bow, like and he lets go and and they're like, oh, you're dead now, bitches, and then they
They
annihilate.
just throw one of those
Oh,
bombs in the middle of the camp, and then just that's it.
yeah, yeah. So there's that. Okay. I guess I'd like to see. Here's like a wish list, right? Now you got me wanting that I want to see the Last Samurai with a predator dropped in the middle. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Especially if the same cinematography, we get the Last Mohicans and then the Last Samurai.
Well, this
Like,
one, yeah, Last Samurai with yeah with Tom Cruise, like that kind of cinematography. Oh man, that'd be
yeah,
great.
but the
Yeah,
freaking predators in there, and
yeah.
then you got the Imperial Japanese army shooting cannons and stuff, and still the samurai, but then predator. All right, so that's cool, but that's not where I was going. So I actually maybe this is like old school fan now, but I want to see him sort of take a loose adaptation of that character that came out in the 90s. Whoever that, I wish I knew her name, but the female, you got to pull up a picture, Marco, when we do the editing here, the post. But that character, maybe even drop her name if you got it. She was taken by the predators and used as like a warrior for them because they found some kind of worthy, superior fighter in her,
And this was
and
in
they put her in
Predator
tournaments
2?
and things. So no,
No.
after Predator 2, they had sort of like expanded universe. There were novels and comics that came out about this character that
Oh.
existed only in that. Like she even showed up in that video game I was talking about. And I think that would be great if they took Naru and just maybe take her back and they do that with her. I think that'd be an interesting, and maybe then we can learn a little more. I heard some of the other criticisms is that we got a kind of a repeat of the first two movies but it would have been neat at this point, especially since it's a prequel, to learn what the Predator real origin is. Like, what is it they're a little more behind? They just send hunters out to planets and see how they do. Like, maybe learn more about the Predator origin and taking her back to a Predator planet would give us that. You know, that'd be kind of a neat way to take it
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Never thought about it that way. It's a
So
good look
be
at
kind
that.
of a neat way to do it. So that's what I'd like. We'll see what we get. As long as we get a sequel at this point, I'm good. It's just it's so good that the sequel can never. I won't say can never, but it might not be as good. So
Yeah, I mean, there will definitely be a sequel. I mean, it was just announced today actually that Prey is Hulu's biggest
mhm.
movie. Uh,
They'd be stupid not to act on
what
that.
did they say? It was the highest premiere, I think, for any Hulu movie
Yep.
history.
Most watch premiere or
Most
something
watched-
like that.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I saw that same thing.
most watched in Hulu history, and that's amazing. A Predator movie. Who would have
Who
thought?
would have thought?
At this point,
They had to rename it Prey.
that's what we name it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Forget
you know
about
what?
that Predator. This is
Think
Prey.
about that. That was a suit decision, I'm sure.
Ah,
They're like,
good
"You know what?
suit. Yeah.
Put it in Prey, because we can associate it with Predator because the last one didn't do so well.
Yep.
I don't know.
When you first showed me that preview, I didn't realize it was a movie. I thought it was gonna be a series, and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
not a bad way to do this. I could see this going into a series now, but I was very satisfied with the actual movie. So,
Yeah, me too. Me
all
too.
right. Well, gentlemen, I think we've just about nailed it. Is there any last comments from either of you?
Don't ruin the sequel.
And
All
let
right.
it go to theater this time. The sequel needs
Yes,
to go to the big
please.
screen.
That's right. Yeah. So I guess next week we don't exactly know what we're talking about, but one of us has seen Sandman, right? All right.
So the whole thing.
So
Oh, you know what? I just realized the guy that you thought was in Suicide Squad is in Sandman. Realize that.
the guy from Suicide Squad, the guy I thought was in
The guy who
Predator.
you thought was in Suicide Squad.
Oh, that guy from the
That guy
Predator
from
is
the
Sandman.
Predator is in Sandman. His character is actually pretty
Okay.
interesting. I just
I might have to
just
check
dawned
that out
on
now.
me.
But all right, so Sandman's out. I've heard that's kind of the thing to watch right now. But I Am Groot just came out. That was kind of
It was
cutesy. I
cute.
watched that in
Yep.
about 20 minutes. That was over quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was
let's
kind of
see.
cute.
Very
It
cutesy.
was total
All
kids,
cutesy.
like very simple. I mean, they might have been 3.5 minutes of actual content. The credits
Mm-hmm.
might have been 2 minutes long. It says 5 minutes when you hit play. So,
Do,
but we
do,
got
do,
big
do
stuff.
I have to see it? Is this something that is
Is
anything
it important
important?
to Marvel canon? No.
Okay,
But
No,
okay.
is it
So I will watch.
important to Groot's growth as a character? Yes.
Okay.
if I may say, yeah, it's kind of funny. If I may say, I almost wish Marvel would take with the quality they did there and make a cinematic movie of something like that. Because look at DC doing the super pets and other stuff, and it's like I didn't want to see that. But like Groot, it looked like Groot from the movie, and I don't not to spoil it, but you see other characters, and it looks very realistic. I'm like, actually, that would be. I'd like to see a Marvel animated movie that's like canon in the MCU of that caliber that we saw. I Am Groot. In fact, it might as. I almost wish they would have just made I Am Groot the movie and it would have been that same quality, but like a Minions movie. Maybe
I
it's
think
nothing important
I
that happens,
think
but
the only problem with having an I Am Groot movie is just gonna turn into a Guardians of the Galaxy movie because he's
yeah.
with them the
I
whole
mean, unless he like
time.
gets sucked out of the ship and he's got his own
He only
adventure.
says
But
3 words. It's not like he can have a lot.
you know what? That's a good movie. I think even the suits probably came up with that one. It's a good one. So, all right,
Well,
you
I
got me
mean,
there.
you guys mentioned Super Pets. I actually saw Super Pets this weekend.
How'd
Actually,
it go?
Okay, what's your thoughts?
it was actually pretty good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
didn't think
mean,
it would be. I mean, like this is ridiculous, but no, it was actually pretty entertaining. It kind of reminded me of like the original Shrek, where adults and kids could actually enjoy it. It had some cool DC lore. It was actually pretty enjoyable. I like
Keanu Reeves is Batman.
Keanu Reeves is Batman, John Krasinski is Superman.
I don't think I knew that. That's funny.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
I just, I'll probably watch it one day. I'm not
No,
the
you don't have to. You don't have to run to the theater to
no,
watch
yeah,
it.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Dwayne the Rock Johnson Kevin Hart trope. I'm over it. They're doing them doing movies together. I kind of feel like I'm just watching the same movie just with different characters. So that's why I'm not
Yeah,
really
I
in a
hear you.
rush to see it. I know everyone
Well,
loves
Well,
them
that's
together.
honestly why I'm not really like that psyched to see Black Adam. Honestly, because as much as I enjoy The Rock, it just I feel
He's in everything.
I'm not sure if he was actually the right person to play this role. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna see The Rock the whole time, like just his
The
personality. I'm
hard
not
part with him, you can't not see him. Yeah,
right, which I do like The Rock. It's
I
just
do
I
too.
don't
He's a
know
good
if
guy.
this like if this is the right role for him, man. I just don't know.
I
But
think they wanted the size, and I think he is the right size and the right look.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think it's The Rock the whole
The
time.
second he tells
And
a joke of some sort that's a Rock joke, it's gonna take me out of the movie.
the preview showed it, him getting smacked with the freaking metal rod, and it's
yeah,
like it hits on his face, and he's staring at you. His very typical face. I was like, that felt very
Second I see that
wrestling
eyebrow
to me.
go up, that's it. I'm
Yeah,
out
I
of it.
can't wait for the eyebrow.
yeah,
Out of it.
But actually, probably the best part of that movie is going to be all the extra stuff, like
yeah.
the JSA and those
Oh,
characters,
Dr.
Hawkman, all
Fate.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that's gonna be kind of neat to finally see those characters on the big screen because I don't know much about them. I've seen them in Smallville, maybe, and that's about it. Or Arrow, also.
Hoping our
Uh,
boy Henry Cavill will come back as Superman.
yes, that if that happens,
Maybe,
it might save it for me. So we'll
Yes.
see.
maybe. Yeah.
But speaking of things coming out August, we got a lot. So I'm not sure what our topic will be. Just to kind of wrap this up, She-Hulk's coming out soon.
Next week.
Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon or House of Dragons, whatever it's called. Um, did I say Lord of the Rings? Yeah,
Yeah. Say that.
Andor got pushed. It's going to be September, but that's clearly going to be a big one. Kind of glad it got pushed. There's enough other stuff going on that
I agree.
it's going to need its own spotlight. So, all right, I think we're wrapped up here. Hope you enjoyed our podcast. Check out Prey. Check out our previous stuff. We had a great DC conversation last time. I'm sure there's going to be another one with Ezra Miller continuously getting himself in trouble or finding
He
reports
did
that he
this
got in
week
trouble 3
again,
months
actually,
ago.
but I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, he
Oh
got in trouble
no.
again.
It was months ago, but it's now reported. So yeah. All right, but we're done here, guys.
Yes.
Have a great night, great day, wherever you happen to be in the world, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.